First time live on this computer since it's been refurbished. And I'm glad I did the work myself. I learned a lot. Of course, it took longer to get it back up and running. Hello, how you doing? Food Fathers Permaculture. He just threw it up there. Hello, MG. MG. Yeah, I've been out all morning, folks. I got off work after 8 hours, 8 grueling hours at work, you know. And after I did that, uh, I came home, grabbed the computer, because I went online. You can find out everything you need to find out online. A good example. I found out that this store that I went to get this computer fixed at was open today on Sunday. The day's still Sunday, yes. And uh, when I looked at the store, it said open at 11 a.m. till 6, I think. Anyway, I got up, got myself together, uh, got off at 9. Went ahead and did what I had to do. Here's the problem I'm having right now. I've been watching gardening shows all morning since I got off work until 11 o'clock, at least till 11 o'clock. And when I I got up and I said, let me go check these shows out. All of this information that you're getting from all these different gardeners, my God, I can see why so many people are confused about gardening. They are confused. They don't know. Um, and the only way I found my way was I got a lot of information from people like Food Farmers Permaculture. It's going to give you things that when you listen to it, it's straight natural. So that works. But I've seen people go and say, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the store and you're going to get some Lysol. You're going to spray that around the plant, and all kind of theories they come up with, and things that they have learned from their father, and their father learned from their grandfather and mother and grandma. And some of this stuff at one time we thought worked. It just luckily some of the plants happened to survive. But the thing about it is that the information's out there. Some of it is incorrect. Some of it just is. And then they got some information which is good. And it's hard sometimes to discern what's good and what's poor information. Um, and they're always telling you, and I'm always getting this. I'm always seeing people do this one thing to soil, I guess now at this point in my life, I don't understand why people are always digging in the soil constantly. It's like an obsession. Um, they're digging, always digging. I don't do that anymore, and I understand why they do it because that's what I was taught at one point to do that. And now I don't do that. I simply, the truck comes, drops off my wood chips, and when he drops them off, I leave them there. And I remember no digging, no dig rules. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That does make sense. Um, and so now that I'm looking at uh, the way that I do it now, he lays the wood there, and I was a little confused at one point. I said, "Well, how long should I let this wood sit there before I start to use it?" And it was a video I put up some time ago that I had some trees serviced in on my property, and I remember Food for House Permaculture said, "Well, he looked at a certain vine that was on the tree, and he said, that particular vine, you don't want to really mix it in with your garden. You don't want to spread it out yet. Let it sit for about a year." And I did that, and it started to turn into the pile started to turn into like a black soil, and it was and I did. Uh, I'm going to use it this year, but it turned into a black soil. A lot of it, a bit of it turned into a black soil. But here's what I do. Now this is just me, and I don't tell nobody how to do it. Excuse me, but I do not turn my compost pile. I do not turn my compost pile at all. Period. Why would I want to do that? Because when I go to and I look at things in nature, and a limb falls off a tree, it's nothing but compost. Why would anyone go out in the woods and turn over that log for what? What's the point? It's gonna go back into the earth where it came from on its own without your help. Natural does the work. Nature does the work. Yeah, nature does the work. And see, this is what I like right here. I could actually see your messages now. When I was trying to do the show with this, what would happen is it would be up there for a second and it would blink away before I got a chance to see what you actually wrote. Hello, how you doing, Mr. Price? Mr. Price, it's been a long time. Good to see you. Say good to see you again. See that people come in there with love. It's a good to see you again. I'm gonna tell you something. Um, I I bought the hard drive for this computer and saved a ton of money. Saved a ton of money. I found a place online that refurbishes hard drives, and I took a chance because I looked at hard drives. This is a pretty good size hard drive, 2 terabytes, I think it is. And what happened was I said, well, do I want to fix this thing? Do I want to get rid of this computer? I got to shop it around and realize um, to buy a computer nowadays, you got to take out a loan unless you have that kind of bank. But I like this computer. I don't know why. I just grown close to the computer. I like the way it's built. I like the way it looks. And so what happened was I kept it. I kept putting it in there, and kept researching and kept saying disk error, something that effect. And I said, what is a disk error? And I looked it up, and it said hard drive. And I said, okay, well, why did the hard drive fail on this thing? And it said that hard drives, especially the mechanical ones, they will fail because they're moving parts, and they do become worn out from repeating those same moves millions and millions of times over when they're working. So what happened? Uh, I got a chance, and I got a chance to get a hard drive, and but when I shopping around hard drives, I want to get the same size hard drive or bigger. But I got this right here, and it was 2 terabytes. That's a lot of space, by the way. That's a lot of space. Hello, look at that. Hey, morning, God, with the clapping going on there. Thank you. Thank you. You're going to see more of me. You're going to get tired of seeing it. You can say, God darn, this man on the air. Whoa, every time I turn around, he's running up my electric bill. Um, but here's what's going on. I've been putting seeds into my pots for germination. Great, because I'm getting ready to do mine. Hey, look, I want to show y'all something real quick. Let me see if I got my clothes all pent up, got them together. I don't want to stand up and show y'all something you ain't supposed to be seeing. Clothes all not put together. But here's what's going on. The hard drive was $32. That's remanufactured to specs of a new one. It was $32, and that was with no wait a minute. I paid a little extra for the shipping. Then I thought, well, I'll get somebody to put it in for me. Where's that? I went online and bought the wrong software. Um, it took them so long to send it to me that I asked for my money back, and they said, "Well, keep the software." But anyway, I got it around here somewhere. It ain't number 2 disc. But here's the deal: I took the 2 disc. I got rid of the 2 disc because they didn't work. They didn't work. They were repair discs. They were not. It kept saying install. I said, okay, I got it. I took it up to a store, and the store went in there and said, well, it'll be $60 to install Windows back on the system. It ain't nothing. All he had to do was push some buttons, and he knew what sequence. So I paid him to use his brain. He knew what sequence to put him in, and boom, it was done. Let's see. Been planting direct soil for weeks. Cold weather crops on southern. I see. Yeah, yeah. Well, we already know Food Farmers Permaculture gonna have a good garden this year. We know that. Um, but I want to do something this year that I've never did before. Now, let me tell you what I did. I want to talk to you guys about this because you guys have been gardening like I have for years as well. Um, I contacted the Department of Agriculture here in Maryland, and I said this one thing to them. I said, "Listen, could I plant my crops amongst my weeds and be fine with doing them that way?" And they sent back, "No, weeds will rob them of nutrients and will rob them of water. It's not a good idea to plant them um, with the same with different with plants, weeds." Now, when I started doing a little bit more research, and I did discover that the what I was trying to do was um, grow my plants with the weeds because I was like, why can't they grow with weeds? I mean, weeds grow with weeds and they survive, but weeds are more dominant because they have not been altered by man. The plants we put in the ground, a lot of them have been altered, and those plants that have been altered are weaker. And I looked at that and I said, okay, that makes sense. They're weaker plants. They been kind of calmed down when they did this process of making corn as big as it is, sweet as it is. You got tomatoes which have been altered. You got a ton of plants, broccoli and everything, been altered. So that being said, why would I put them out there with weeds? So they said, don't do it. So anyway, I said, wait a minute, I can't buy that completely because I know that with more roots in the ground, the more the roots are drawing in what the soil needs. And weeds is just another common name for a plant that we feel we have no use for or don't know what it is exactly. So we just call them, lump them together and call them weeds. Weeds is something that people feel there's no use for them. They're irritant. They're only there to destroy your plants. No, they're there to actually build your soil. And why would you till them up, tearing up your homes for all of the microorganisms, stripping out the weeds that are which are coming to that location because they're needed there. They're they have to be there in order to repair the soil. Kind of like you with a band-aid over a scraped knee. You put it there to protect, and weeds do that. They bring back into the soil what is needed. And so, and some people are so good at understanding weeds, they can look at certain weeds and know why they're there. Oh, this is because the pH is over over 7. Oh, this over here is because the pH is low or high. Or this over here is because the soil has a lot of clay in it. Or this is over here because, and they can read. My point is they can read the um, the weeds and know why that particular weed is there. And so that being said, when they come up, they die off. They leave all their minerals on top of the soil, and they improve the soil. And as they improve the soil, different types of plants get the soil suited for them. And then later on, in come the trees, and later on, the trees drop theirs, and they decide based on the soil's condition what else will live there. Let's see, my wife made cranberry bread. Yeah, oh, it saves a few seeds. Um, okay, now that's a good thing you brought up, Mr. Price. I bought some raspberries from the store, and I had a few that was left over that was a little overripe. That was in the bottom. I don't like overripe food, and so what I did was I put them in a cup. Let me show you, and I got them started. Let me see, can I get the? Let me get my other shoe here. It's in here somewhere. I have misplaced my shoe. Can Oh, here we go. There we go. Right there in front of me. If it was any closer, it would have bit me if it had teeth as well. But here's what I'm saying. The raspberries, I just want to check it out and see where they grow. I put them in a cup. I put some plastic over the top. I watered them in. and I want to see if they will actually start plants. If they start plants, I don't have to go to Walmart or Lowe's and buy $10 for one single plant, a raspberry. I hate doing that. $10 that puts a taste in my mouth. It's not good. Hold on for 1 second. Let me show you something that what they're doing today, folks. Everything is moving so fast, and everybody is so hungry for money. This is what they're doing when you go into a store now. Um, this is the raspberries, and I see something that just happened here. I'm just noticing it. It looks like a fungus is in here because when I did the raspberry, I just dropped the whole berry into the soil, and then you see this little white here, a little look like a smoke. That's from the fruit that was on the berries, and so I'm still gonna leave them in there because they might still germinate. Some of them might germinate. All I want is a few to germinate. I put about 4 or 5 berries in this cup, very close to the surface, about like that, from the surface, and see what happens. Um, then there was another. Since I love kiwi, what's up, family? I just listening while working on my God, working in my God. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to see somebody out there enjoying the God. See this right here. This is sad, and this is one of the better looking ones. This was oh my God, I can't believe I did that. 1098, 1098 for this. 1098 for this. I bought one a while back that had all of it. It's got a tiny bit of green on it. That wasn't there when I bought it. Right there, that green, it wasn't there. Can you see that? You know I had to be desperate to buy something that didn't even have green on it, and I bought it, and comes with a 1 year warranty. It's a one plant. That's what it says on the front there with that one indicating one plant. Also, this hardy kiwi, it's a GMO free fruit, and then it has a harvest early summer and fall, self pollinating, and a lot of them don't tell you that. That's why I got it. I got it because it's self pollinating, and it's sold. You can get it at Home Depot. I saw it there, and I think they might have it also at Lowe's, but I know it's at Home Depot. These are beautiful. Um, yeah, it's a 1 year warranty on them, and I like that because if it dies, take the box back in the receipt and say, "Hey, how you doing? Listen, I'm the guy who bought this." But at any rate, it's got one tiny speck of green right there, and that wasn't there when I bought it. I took half strength um, fish emulsion and watered it when I first got it because I said I don't know how long it's been on the shelf. I don't know the last time they fed it because they're pretty slack about feeding and taking care of the plants. Once they get them in the store, they want to just sell them. Now, what I'll do, depending on what they have up on the shelf, now this same box right here for $11, let's say $11, will cost approximately about um, it'll cost about $1 if you go in there after everybody's done ran over them and grab them and they stop watering them and you see some green on them. You feel like you might be able to save them. You can get the same box right here uh, uh, for probably $1 and put it in the ground and you're all set. You don't always have to spend what they're asking for their price. But kiwi, I want is part of my food forest. I want it as part of my food forest because it's so healthy for you, and it tastes absolutely great. And when they get old and big, the plants do, they can produce probably up to close to a 200 pounds of fruit on them. And I think I want that. I think I want that. I got apples, I got pears, I got plums, I got peaches, I got cherries, I got and all those trees out there that I'm on my property right now. If you saw the way everything's overgrown, as soon as we get some warmer weather here, I'm going out there and start cutting them trees down because they're like 23, 24 feet tall. I do not want trees that tall. I don't want them that tall. I know that it's going to cause them to spring and act crazy, and they're going to send out all these shoots and everything because I'm doing drastic cuts to the tree. But I don't want trees that tall. And I got vines that keep running all through the trees every year, so I gotta learn how to stay on that. That came in here, by the way, with the wood chips. Those vines came in here by the wood chips, and now they are making their way in different locations of the yard. But they're all back in there, and they're all around the trees. And I'm gonna tell you like this: they can choke out a tree. Um, there are so many of them, and they're deeply deeply doing their thing. They're surviving. They're trying to choke them shoes out so they can take that spot. And that's how they. I think that's what they're doing. But I bought some garlic. I bought some. What do they call it? I got tons of ginger out. Now let me tell you where to get that at, folks. Don't go to your local grocery store and try to get ginger and grow. Ginger is one of the healthiest and greatest fruits you can. I mean, greatest plants you can ever put in a pot or you can put in the ground. But don't overpay for it. Go to one of them Korean markets. Just Google it and see what the closest one to you. Call them up first, see if they have it in stock, ginger. And I bought a whole bunch of it. I bought a whole bunch of ginger, and I didn't hardly pay anything for it. Didn't hardly pay anything for it. And when I did that, I'm just going to plant a lot of ginger this year. And the ginger I'm going to plant this year, I'm going to give some away and might even trade some for some greenbacks. I might. And it'll be all donations, of course. No one's going to pay for them because I don't want to do it that way. I want them to donate to help keep my channel and keep me going. Any of you buy that? Any of you? But I think that I put in all the hard work and I traveled around and I pick up the plants. I grew the plants. I'm feeding the plants. I'm taking care of the plants. And it's worth something. Check check the comments above, Morning Garden. Let's see. Okay, I see something here. You typed in ain't no warranty on no plant. Well, I understand what you wrote, but they say in the store that it's a warranty on it, 1 year. It's 1 year on the plant, according to what they told me in the store. And they try to stand by that because um, they want to have you come back, buy more plants. And if you got a raw deal on a plant, it costs you. Look at it. Sad. It's a little stick. And see that little bit of green up there. Come on now. You can't. And the green only came out when I tapped it, just gently tapped it with that fish emulsion. Uh, and I'm gonna tell you something, folks. Uh, just from my experience, don't ever feed your plants the way people are telling you to feed your plants on instructions on the box. Don't do that. A lot of them are selling plant food. And they want you to use it up. Um, when you good afternoon, good afternoon. When you are planting and you want to have success, it's better to do half strength for the fertilizer than it is to do full strength for the fertilizer. Um, I look at what was a Miracle Grow says nitrogen 27. I think that's just 27, and then there's two other numbers, and phosphorus and potassium. But you would not ever need that much nitrogen to grow anything. You don't need that much nitrogen. So I use if I were to use uh, that Miracle Grow, it would be at half strength. It might even be less than that. The same thing goes for um, when I make my compost tea with the wood chips, or I use weeds, or I use both, and let it sit for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then it becomes a beautiful tea. I thin that stuff out so much it's like 1 part to 10 or 1 part to 15, and I water my garden with it once a week. or I water my garden with it once every 2 weeks. Your plants will do much better if you make sure they're watered properly. That's a big deal because they don't eat it. They don't eat if you don't water them. They really don't eat well if you don't water them. You need everything that they bring in is in a liquid state. Either they wait for the rain or you water them. But if you got fertilizer there that you're watering through the fertilizer and the plants pick it up in the form of a liquid. So you don't water them, they don't eat. They also don't get water. So learn how to water because a lot of people have a lot of issues with water. I used to have issues with water, overwatering things or underwatering, and you wonder why your plants are turning yellow, and you think, oh, if I just add some more fertilizer, and sometimes that could be the worst thing to do. Get them on a schedule and start to pay attention to your plants. Go out there, look at them daily. Go out there and check the leaves and look under the leaves. Look up at the stems and see what kind of bugs are on them, if there are any bugs. And try not to, if you don't have to, don't put any uh, poisons on your plants to kill bugs. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's Mama wouldn't like you to do that because you got to eat that food. And it goes inside of the plant's tissue, that poison. Um, and you just want to make certain that you're not killing yourself with your plants. So that being said, do your garden in a natural way. Stay natural. Um, Pay attention to the plant. The plant knows what it needs to do. It just needs you to be able to read the signs that it's sending you. Hey, I'm turning a little light green. You might want to add something to me. Maybe some what they call it. Sometimes my green will plant up real pretty with some Epsom salt, and I thin that down. A little bit of Epsom salt and thin it down. I have a stove that's here as a pellet stove, um, and I collect all the ashes from it, and I keep them ashes because they can be used in the garden. How about the coverage of planting a cover crop? I should say help. So Um, yeah, I always wanted to start excuse me. I always wanted to start a cover crop. Then when I look at all my weeds out there, I realize I already have a cover crop. And it's an assortment of different weeds from all over the birds that put there that I brought in that were here before I even got here. Um, my yard is over 100 years old. In other words, when they first build a house and they scrape off all the topsoil and all that stuff, if they did my soil like that, they did it over 100 years ago. And now the soil, when I first got here, I cut down all the trees that were out there. I filled up a dumpster with little trees that big around, this big around, and they all grew there on their own. And now I got everything cut back where I wanted. I stopped tilling about 10 years ago because the soil was kind of good at first. And then when I kept using the soil year in and year out, the soil got weaker. A lot of us are dealing with poor damn soil. And that's the reason why we're not growing anything. And every time they put a shiny box up there, I wish I had a shiny box right now. And it shows you what to put in your plant and how to feed your plant and all this. And a lot of that stuff is just misinformation. A lot of it's misinformation. It's wrong. And so you want to be careful about that because these companies are out to make money and they're always telling you what you need. I like going and calling the truck up and saying, could you drop a load of wood chips on my property? Set it over there, pile it up, let the insects crawl through it, let the time do its deal to it. And people say, well, I gotta buy some worm poop, or I gotta go get some compost in a bag. No, you don't. All you need to do is get some wood chips and let them sit, and they'll do everything you need to do. You don't need to keep going to them box stores buying stuff. Only way I think you should buy stuff from a box store if they were damn near giving it away to you. That's when you want to buy it, when it's almost free. because I'm not paying $8, $9, $10 for a bag of fertilizer. I'm not doing that when I know that it's basically just trash from the farm. Um, they grind it up, cook it, put it in a bag, put some colorful pictures on the front, big tomatoes, they're sweating, and beautiful green plants, and telling you that all you need is this stuff here. This is the magic. This is the stuff that makes it all happen. Don't believe that. You can go out there and get a whole bunch of weeds and put them in a bucket. And when you put them in that bucket and let them just sit there for about 3 weeks, and then thin it out and then pour it on your plants, not on your plants, but around the base of your plants, and you got some special stuff. Do it once a week, and when you see how green and pretty or how sweet those tomatoes are, you want to load those plants up with all kind of nutrients. Go around the base of it with some compost from the tree, um, and if you go cut your grass, big handfuls of, put it around the base of the plant, and to feed it, and also keep the roots around the plant nice and cool. You can't get better than that. And you got to cut your grass anyway, so why not put a bagger on that lawnmower and collect them grass clippings? So and the soil went in our hands. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't, like I said, I don't dig. The only, if I do put a hole, okay, I'll give you an example. See this right here. This is the hole going to be made for this. It's going to be one small hole about the diameter of this box. And when I do that, um, I will put the plant in the ground. I will not go overboard with. I will not go overboard with, you know, trying to make things more complex and difficult. I have seen so many videos. These guys, these ladies, some of them are making this garden thing so complex it make your head hurt, because you know good and well uh, a seed on some of the trees fall from the tree and does this. Some of them spiral, hits the ground, and somehow without your help, somehow without going to the box store, this little seed turns into a big tree one day. Without your help, without you tilling, without you watering it, without you doing anything to it, and it takes care of itself, and it becomes um, what it's supposed to become. Now, I, on the other hand, don't believe in babying my plants. I don't believe, oh, little plant, oh, you need some water, with a baby bottle and all that. I don't. I put the plants in the ground. I give them what they need. I watch them. I pay attention. And some are going to survive and some are not going to survive. That is just part of nature. So if I wanted to improve my success, I might plant more than one. And instead, I might only need two tomato plants, but I'll do three or four and make sure that if two die, I still have my two. Um, and you know, and I've had people tell me, "Oh, corn is a difficult plant to grow." No, understand the corn, what it needs, give it what it needs, and sometimes corn will die on its own. Sometimes it'll supply. It'll survive. It's like anything else. It's not all of them not going to live. That's just part of nature. Animals are going to tear up your corn sometime. Uh, your neighbors might come in your yard and steal your corn uh, because they're hungry. And as things get tighter, I mean, people are going to get more and more hungry, and they're going to do things you ain't never seen before. Look at that corn over there in this yard. That's actual corn. Look at it. It's deep dark green, and it's tall and wide leaves. Look at that corn. Look how big those cobs of corn are. I'm just gonna go. What hell? I'm going over to get it, and they'll go right in your yard and get it because they're hungry. Apples. They'll do that to apples. I had a construction crew come to my house to put a roof on my shed, garage, and I happened to notice that the apples on my tree were gone, that I was waiting for to become mature enough for me to eat them. The workmen did that. Now I could have created a stink and said, oh no, who ate these apples? Who touched these apples? Now, you know I haven't paid you yet, right? Okay, let's keep that straight. I could have did all that. I didn't do that. I said, look at that. They took my apples. I said, okay. So plant under. Yep. That's why I'm planting at Food Forest Permaculture in a sunny location. Because I did that before. I put one plant in a shaded location. And I remember checking with everyone, and they said, oh, it'll be fine in partial shade. But it really wasn't in partial shade. It was in more shade than it was, you know. So pears, I think the Bartlett pear tree I have is great. I think that they have another tree called Delicious. It's a pear, and they grow it at Stock Brothers. And I got the two side by side. They're about 21 inches apart from each other, maybe 2 feet, if that. But they're growing beautifully. Now, some of my trees, my plums, have not given me any fruit yet. I mean, one time they produced fruit and then they dropped off. That's when they was very, very young. Now the trees are about 4 years old. I think they're about 4 years old. And so I'm looking for this year, once I cut them back and everything, to see if they'll give me some fruit. Um, cherries. Put one in there about 3 years ago. It gave me so far the whole time I owned it about 3 cherries, and that was it. Now this particular sweet cherry, it even says it on the site at Stock Brothers. It says does not need a pollinator, and I know what that means. That means it'll produce some cherries, but it will produce more cherries if you had a pollinator that coincides with the time frame that this plant needs to produce uh, fruit. I think I said that right. Well, folks, that's it for me today. Morning Gardener, Morning Gardener. And I'm going to be coming on here at different times. I'm going to find out when you guys want me to come on. And I'm going to do it like that because sometimes I've sat in front of here and had for almost 40 minutes, hour, had two people in the room. And that's kind of depressing. Two people in the room. That would definitely kind of, get your attention. Maybe yeah, okay, bye, Mr. Price and everyone else. Take care. But I kind of only reason why I'm doing this because I got to go to work tonight. Other than that, I would stay on here. I hope that people like this and send some. What we got now? Fellow Earthling. Fellow Earthlings. Favorite saying, fellow Earthling. Yes. See, only the one in the room is needed. Only one in the room is needed. Okay. Yeah. You could do it that way too. I wish that YouTube had where you could have people come in like kind of like a meeting, but I haven't seen that yet. But everyone, this is the Morning Garden. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a good day.